Dear listeners, welcome to another episode of The Journey to Creativity, a podcast to find, unlock, rediscover, or discover for the first time your creative impulses, your creative force. Today, I am here with a very special guest with me. He is a singer, a songwriter, guitar and drums player, and an entrepreneur. He is the creator and leader of the indie alternative folk band Astronomy Ground. He is also the creator of the Log Alive app, which is in beta version right now, and the creator of the YouTube channel Chinook Sessions, beautifully showcasing talented local Calgary folk musicians. And here he is. Welcome, Quinn Weiske.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're just playing with the sounds effects here.
Yo, this is
Welcome, Quinn.
this is so fun. This is so cool.
So happy to have you here. It's an honor for me and a pleasure to have you here and know about your creative experiences. You're such a creative human being. You're doing so many things on your life.
Well, thank you. And like that, the main like thing is like there's the main thing that drew me to this is like the journey to creativity.
Yes.
Is such a vast journey, and there's also like there's so many hurdles, and so when you like find yourself like in like a down spot for creativity in one aspect of life, there's like always like going to and exploring new things and trying to be creative with those things, and then moving to different areas, but like also overcoming those hurdles to like reach full potential for creativity with no matter what you're doing. So
it expands to life.
Yo, it does, which is really cool.
It's really cool. And I love to see how many different things you do, right? How many, and actually manifesting these things, because you can be someone saying like, oh, I want to do all of these things, but you're actually like, you have your band, Astronomy Ground, you guys release an EP, Distance.
Yeah.
Right? By the way, you can find Astronomy Ground on Instagram. It's at Astronomy Ground. And you can also find Astronomy Ground on Spotify to listen to beautiful nature-oriented folk music to chill out and relax and feel like you're in Canada.
It really is like the point to relax. Like a lot of my music that I write at like 2 or 3 in the morning because I like suffer with like multiple sleep like disorders and like insomnia. Like there's one that's called delayed sleep phase disorder, which is like a whole different thing of just like your sleep schedule just keeps on shifting no matter what you're doing. And so a lot of the time when I'm writing music, it's at like 3 in the morning when I'm like, I should be sleeping right now. I should be sleeping. What can I do to get to sleep? Okay, I'm just gonna play myself some really peaceful guitar, like sing a little bit, and then maybe I'll get sleepy. And then that's usually how I write my songs. Also, living with other people is that if you're playing music at 3 a.m., usually you have to be a little bit quieter. So it's just like you're playing gently. You're just like kind of trying to find the like the tasteful like accents without like becoming it like making it become too much. So it's still always like focused around like the like quiet parts and like the relaxation aspects and meditative aspects of music.
So that's where your inspiration is drawn from.
Yeah, very much. And like very much through like meditation and everything. Like because it's like I don't have a full-time job or whatever, since it's just music and the other like journeys that I'm going on to make money, I just have a lot of free time. So a lot of what I'm doing is just meditating. So I meditate for like 2 to 3 hours a day. And so a lot of that, like you're just like working through your own things, and you have to like come at that with a creative mindset as well to like kind of get into your own brain to project it out to the world, you know?
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. So you meditate for long hours every day.
Yeah.
And is this, so what is, what motivated you? What has brought you to this? Because you're the fact that you're saying these things to me right now, I'm like, whoa. So you're someone that is working on something. Because anybody that is either having a morning routine practice or meditating or, you know, doing affirmation work or anything like that is because you're struggling, you're fighting something within, right? You're trying to find some kind of peace.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like necessarily fighting something or trying to like. It's more just trying to develop yourself to a higher point and trying to connect those neural pathways to get to those moments quicker.
Wow.
So like it's like just like anything, it's a muscle, and if you practice it enough, then it like you can get like those neural pathways can connect faster, and then you can get to that point in an easier way when you practice.
And how long have you been meditating?
Just about 10 years.
Wow.
So I started when I was like a teenager, and just and that's when I started looking more into spirituality. And at the time I was looking into Buddhism and how that is portrayed in everything, and the like kind of accuracies that I was finding with that. And then there's like as I've continued my spiritual journey, it was just going and finding other things that kind of made sense with what like I was personally experiencing through meditation, through like creating music, through all of these different aspects. And so yeah, 10 years, but like very, very intently for the past like 6 years. And for the past probably about 3 years, I've been doing it like for more than 2 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive because I actually tried including meditation this year at some point in my and I actually kept going, but I would never meditate for more than, I don't know, 30 minutes maybe would be like the maximum. When I was like, you know, in the summer I would go by the river and like just sit there and just enjoy. And you have like a lot of nature stimuli to relax, right? You have like the water, the trees, I don't know, you have like so much, the birds and all of that like helps you meditate or enter.
It definitely
right?
does. And well, there's a natural like energy and frequency that brings you into like the more like meditative states within nature, and just like the energy flow that's in nature. Like humans are like meant to be in nature. We're not meant to be in these houses and like in cities where there's all this like light and like artificial light and like pollution and just like cement everywhere, and just like we're supposed to be like around like other animals and like trees and rivers and just like the harmony of everything. But also it's hard because it's Canada and it's cold, so so you can't always be in nature. But it's always good to reconnect with nature, and I feel like most people don't even just try and find the time to reconnect with nature.
Right.
But that's one reason why I love living in Calgary so much, is because the mountains are just in our backyard. They're like 45 minutes away. You can be like in one of the most beautiful places in the world.
So beautiful.
That's so ridiculous. So
right.
that in itself is like a very like key thing. So actually on the album cover for the Distances EP is a school bus in the mountains.
Yeah.
So that's the school bus that I lived in. Oh. So I lived in that school bus for a year and a half.
What?
And I would
no way.
I would just drive to the mountains and just like go there, drive until I didn't have any cell service, and just like there was no light, there was no people, there was no anything. I would just park on any random like road that just like up any side of a mountain, and I would just like sit and like meditate for a weekend. And when I went like 4 years ago and did that, and I got into one of the deepest meditations that I ever have, and it was like close to 16 hours straight. And so I was just sitting in the exact same spot, just didn't move, like completely disconnected from my body. Wow. And then I came back to reality and I was like, oh my God, I need to go to the bathroom and I need to eat food. And as soon as I did that, and then I went and started to write a song, and that's when I wrote Between the Pines. So wow. Like there's an acoustic version on the Distances EP, but I wrote that song in like half an hour, and it's like still like 4 years later is like the crown jewel of like the songs that I've written. I'm like, this is the song like that I like to that like if people are like, oh, you make music, I'm like, here's this song. Yeah. It's the wow. That's because it mainly just because it feels like that song is nature flowing through me. Like that is like it is like it's hard to explain. Like it just feels like it was nature, just like me connecting to the trees and to the birds and to like everything, and just like having that flow through me instead of me just trying to channel things. It was just like naturally that was the process. So
you were like receptive and open to that song coming through you.
Yeah. And so it was a really euphoric feeling, especially after like 16 hours of just like meditation and being in my own head and like being like going through these different channels and everything like that. And it was really interesting. Yeah, it was really cool.
Wow.
So
I want to I want to know how did you first connect to music, or if it wasn't music, like what was that creative expression that you found? When did you find it, and how did this like journey start? Because you seem to have a clarity of a journey that you've been following.
For music, it was when I was little, like when I was like 11, I would like take my brother's guitar and I would just like start playing it. And when my other brother was playing Guitar Hero, I would just like sit with the actual guitar and play guitar to it and just like kind of like listen to it. And then I started getting into other things. And after a month of me playing guitar, I was already better than my brother, which had been playing for like a couple years. And he was like, oh, screw you, and just like took his guitar away from me. Then my mom bought me a guitar and was like, okay, you're serious about this. And so I just started playing then. And then that's when I, like, from that point on, that's when I like was playing like 2 or 3 hours a day. And there were like, and just like diving deep into like practicing every single day and just playing and finding that those moments of like flow state through guitar. And right. Yeah, so having that as a thing, and then like finding meditation shortly after that, going and then finding the connection between the two. So like the like when playing guitar, you can like I can easily get into a meditative state while playing guitar now, because and like the neural pathways start to like fire clear when I'm playing guitar, just because it's that place of comfortability for me. It's like the when I feel most natural is when I have a guitar in my hands. So yeah.
Oh, I wish we had one here.
Oh man, I should have brought one.
Should have brought one to connect it there. But yeah, wow. So you sense basically you from a very young age, you like intuitively sensed a connection between music and spirituality.
Yeah.
A connection between the expression and a state of meditation.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that even like further, like as I started to look into other things and like different aspects of that, like discovering different things that I do now, which is like I'll tune all my instruments to 432. so to like 432 hertz. So to get into a little bit of a conspiracy aspect of this, I know this isn't a conspiracy podcast, but I'm going to bring it in
it's fine.
because it's kind of messed up. So like you said, when you're listening to nature, when you're listening to birds, like tree, like that natural vibration, that's all happening at tuned to 432. Like nature and our human bodies are naturally resonate with like the frequency 432 and like the things that are tuned to 432.
Okay.
And so what happened is the American standard used to be 432 and all music was played in 432. Like, you know, those like meditation singing bowls where you just like, they just like make a, those are tuned to 432 as well. Binaural beats, they're 432. Literally anything spirituality wise, 432. It just like, it like is proven to heal, like this sound healing is like with 432.
Wow.
All that kind of stuff. So back just after World War II, there was some scientists that came from the Nazi Party over to NASA, and then they changed the American standard from 432 to 440, which is where it's at today, which is like just slightly higher pitched, just slightly out of frequency, just like creates that disharmony, just even in the slightest. And it like still sounds nice, but it's just like it doesn't resonate with our bodies nearly as much as 432 does. So that changed into they changed it to 440. It's been that ever since. So anytime you listen to pop music, you listen to like anything on the radio, most of the time it's like, I would say 99% of the time it's 440. But what I do, and like because my music is all about meditation and finding like peace and like even just like a minute to like just like calm your mind, right? Because a lot of people, they struggle with even just like finding like 2 minutes to just stop and slow down, like breathe.
Yeah.
So like there's like at my shows, I'll even like tell people, I'm like, yo, if you want to close your eyes for this next song, just relax. Like nobody's like, there's no pressure. Just like breathe, you're all right. And so like we tune all the instruments to 432. So the guitar, cello, violin, all of that. We're trying to find a solution to tune the piano to like an electric piano to 432. But yeah, it's just like if it's just guitar, cello, and violin, we're all tuned to 432, which is actually really cool because once you get to once you start playing 432 on like violin and cello, because of the way the string vibrates, it creates so much more like overtones and undertones. So it's like a single note will be like an entire chord, and you can just hear all these different notes within like a single note. And it's so wild that it's just like that. So like one of my, like, I just want to bring that like information to more people, be like, hey, like music will like fix so many things for like your body, like your mind, like it like aligns so many things. If you tune like your music to 432, or you just like sit down with a guitar and like tune it to 432, anything like that, you'll just like, it's so much like more of a, like it will like, you'll go into that sound so much deeper than
getting
you have
to the
before.
zone.
Yeah. It triggers flow state so much faster than like 440. So
Well, thank you for this knowledge. Like I really had no idea. Like I might put this podcast in 432 if it's possible. I would love you to show me how to do that. Wow. So I love that your journey has to do with finding peace, with finding calm, with putting yourself to sleep when you can't sleep, right?
Yo, like truly. And so there's a lot of things with that, and a lot of goals that I have that are like very, very lofty goals in the music industry altogether. But like one of my biggest goals is to change the Canadian standard from 440 to 432. And how I want to do that is through live music and like connecting with local musicians across all of Canada.
All right.
To do that, and connecting with venue owners and different things like that, which leads me into a perfect segue for what else I do, which is my app called Local Live.
App. Yes.
Yeah. So
tell us about that.
So what I like, I think I've given you the explanation before, but I'll give you kind of like the broad explanation. So so what it is it's a booking app for local music. So venue signs up and the artist signs up. You can be in multiple bands. You can do all that. It's free for every musician in your local city. So you can sign up for the app. You can just contact venues, and venues can contact you. And it takes all the stress out of booking gigs. Because booking gigs is by far the worst part of the music industry. And it's the one part that hasn't really changed. Like, it hasn't caught up to technology. Like, listening to music, we got Spotify and like we got like Apple Music and all that kind of stuff. Like, but for going to live music, there's nowhere that you can actually look to find all the live music. Like, especially on a local level, like the little open mic that's down the street. How are you going to know about it if you can't really? So this app, you can book local music, book your band, all that kind of stuff. Creates a seamless process for that. And then we're releasing a consumer app. So if you don't play live music and you just want to see live music, any gig that's booked within the app will show up on our consumer app, and you can see like every gig that's happening in Calgary. So that's going to be coming out soon, which is going to be.
I'm excited.
That in itself is a key thing, because a lot of people, like, talking to a lot of people that aren't musicians. Like, I have a lot of friends. Like, most of the people that are in my circle are musicians.
Yes.
And so
your house.
Yeah, like my house. Like, we literally have like jams every single day. Like, going out to live music 6 times a week. Like, all I'm surrounded by is live music and local musicians all the time. And so, but people that don't like know any live musician, or like know any musicians, they don't know where the venues are, they don't know anything. Like, they have no idea to where to look. So you can do that. They can be exposed to these local musicians. More people will be going out to live music, because there's a lot of people that their whole reason why they don't go out is because they just don't know where to look, and they've tried, but it's still not easy to find when you have no idea what to look for, right?
Yeah.
And so, but that euphoric feeling of getting everybody on the same vibration is so, like, when you like leave a concert or you leave a gig or anything like that, and you just like feel kind of like levitated. You're just like, you have that energy, because like even if you get like 20 people all on the same vibration, that's so powerful, because one person is a powerful like vessel. You get like 20 people, 50 people, 100 people all riding that same vibration. And like that's when real change, real emotional like healing can happen. Like, there's so much power that like getting that many people all like buzzing on the same vibration. So to like having that all to 432,
that's one mission.
Is one mission to just be like, hey, like, the world is crazy. The world is absolutely crazy. People's jobs are like draining them. The like social media just like puts you in that cloudiness. Like, everything is like trying to distract you from not connecting with yourself.
Wow.
It's like, oh no, don't connect with yourself. Watch this YouTube video. Oh no, watch Netflix. So like, oh, you're out. Like, there's so much like distraction and like instant gratification, like that is a part of it. That's so having that, and having just normal people that aren't really in that creative space to experience that could break them out of the mold that they've fallen into, to just be like, oh wait, like, whoa, there's so much more. So
There's so much more to life.
actually, so that's one of the biggest goals that I have, is just like bringing that like peace of mind and bringing that energy and that like euphoric feeling to more people, and hopefully that will make the world a better place. I don't know.
I think you're definitely on the right path. And I
Cool.
think our missions, our visions have a lot in common, because this podcast is meant for people that are my sort of my mission. No, it's not mission statement, but like my mantra kind of like is that we are all creative beings. We just like distracted from ourselves, like you were just saying. Like we don't know. We have so much things going on outside. There's so much buzz.
Yeah.
The city, we don't realize, but there is a constant buzz in the city. Like we're never in silence. So when you were talking about retreating yourself to, that's like one of the dreams that I have.
It's so amazing.
You know, getting yourself lost in the middle of nature. But that's a luxury that not many of us don't have. Yeah. So just like allowing everyone to like enter this vibration, to sort of like raise their vibration up, because music, the way, even in live events, we just by being in a live event music, by being exposed to people performing music live, your vibration elevates. You experience something, you get like recharged of energy. And so, well, part of my mission is to get people to jump in, to try, you know, you can do it. It's just a matter of practice. For example, you're self-taught. I'm also mostly self-taught. Yeah. I've taken a few lessons here and there, but we can all do it, and we can all explore that creative potential, and that could, from my perspective, make the world a better place. So we are in the same.
That's so cool. And that really is the thing. And like with like one thing that I will add to that too is when people are on stage and performing, they're projecting their like feeling and their like vibration out into the audience, and then the audience is picking it up. So having the right musicians with the right message and right feeling, pushing that out to the masses on like micro levels is and because there's no way to like have everybody on the same page, but if we can get little pockets all across the city, all like at different times, just like getting to that higher vibrational frequency, and like that higher calling, that higher purpose, and that higher like everybody, like especially with the weather getting worse recently, is everybody has been sad recently except for me and like a couple other people that I've like talked to. They're like, oh man, it's just like, I'm like, it's not the weather. It's like the fact that when the weather changes, our bodies are in tune with nature. We're supposed to be sleeping more. We're supposed to be like rising with the sun and setting with the sun. We're supposed to be sleeping more. We're supposed that's a natural thing. With like we are supposed to like there's so much like misinformation around like seasonal affective disorders where it's like, no, everybody has it. It's like, no, it's like meditate a little bit, like find those like higher frequencies and like tune into that and flow with nature. And like when you completely disconnect yourself from nature and like from that, like clearly there's going to be some disconnects, and like a lot of times it's like disconnects of like chemicals in our brains just being like, ow, like I'm trying to still live the life that like the summer life, but it's winter. Why is this not working? It was like, well, because it's winter. Jeez, like
yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot of that going on, and so yeah.
But you know, we'll elevate the vibration, and I really love your app idea.
Yeah, well, and
it's alive.
Yeah, when it's like it's in my opinion, it's a win-win-win situation. Because the artist can they don't have to focus on the business side of things. And like there's so many musicians that they are all just about the art. They're all about the creativity. They can't live within the business side of things, like the like it's the balance of like the left brain and right brain aspects. And so they can't live within that. So they'll just like their music and their creative energy will just disappear into like the world, because there will be no trace of it, because they can't get a handle on the business side of things, or like making it tangibly into a career.
Right.
And so helping musicians find gigs and just like having that like as one less stress of a thing to worry about, and just being able to actually get paid from gigs and everything like that, and have it as your job, your career, so you can focus fully on that, is a huge thing. Helping businesses and these venues connect with artists and bring them in, it like helps them out, so they don't have to go out searching for it. They're like, it makes their job easier for booking music, and then it helps the consumer just like find live music and like experience that. So it's just a win-win-win situation, which is really cool. And it's taken a long time. Like I've been working on this for 3 years now.
Wow.
And like when I went on like a little tour through Europe with my music. And while I was going through like these different countries, I was looking at the music scenes and like the music communities in different like areas around the world, and just being like, okay, what are they doing right that we're not doing in Canada? Like, what are we doing in Calgary that's just like not connecting clearly? And it's like, oh, okay, well, they're doing this thing in England, they're doing this thing in Germany, like they're like, this is what like live music is like in Belgium, like, oh, in Norway, this is like the normal, this is cool. Like, so kind of like learning from all these other places that are very like established with music, and just like have the music culture, and like bringing that back to Calgary in a hopes to develop the music culture. Because in Calgary, it's not the problem. Like we have more than enough places to play live music. There's so many. There's over 250 venues or like places that you can play or like listen to live music, whether it's a restaurant having like dinner music, a dedicated venue, a coffee shop with like somebody in the corner playing guitar. There's over 250 in like the Calgary and surrounding area. Like, so all the like the metropolitan area.
Crazy.
Which like most people are like, there's 12. No, there's 250.
Yeah, I would have never thought there's 250.
Right? And so like we're not short of musicians, because I know well over 350 different musicians that are all really dope. That are really cool, like amazing musicians. Like some are better than others, but like they're all really, really talented people. And we're not short of people, because we have a city of 1.6 million people, 1.5 million people. There's people here. They like everything is here. The only thing that's not here is the music culture. Right. And it's the idea of like, oh, what do we do after work? Oh, let's go to the bar and drink and then go home. No, it's like, hey, how about we go to this live music event? How about we experience the culture of this city on the ground floor of the people that are bringing the art and culture to the city, and like trying to develop that. And so when you get more people in a local area consuming more local art, then it's going to be more of a cultural hub. And it will spiral into greatness, hopefully.
Oof, that's really gonna boost up, like you said, win-win-win, venue, artist, and final consumer. In the end. So you were touring through Europe. I was gonna precisely ask you a little bit of the creative process of creating this app.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So you picked up,
because it like. The thing with the app is like, I've been working on this for 3 years, but it feels like an album. Like it feels like very much into like the mindset that I would go to create an album and like create different songs and different parts of the songs. Is like there's different parts of the app. There's different like aspects to each part. There's so much like that is going on, and then the different like creative parts of being like, oh, what kind of features, like what would make, like getting into the business side of things and the analytical side of, okay, what would make this a better product? Like what would make this, how would like, what would make how can we make this so much better for venues? How can we make this so much better for artists? How can we make this so much better for consumers? How can we tailor each like thing to each person in the exact way that they need it? And so it's been a very like creative process for like through all of that, like through the advertising like aspects of it, like how we're going to be advertising and like that. Like we have a 30-second ad that's going to be going before movies at Cineplex theaters.
Nice.
And so like how I got like that idea is I was just like in bed. It was like 3 a.m. I hadn't slept for 36 hours.
Oh my
and I was just like ready, like I was falling asleep and I was like about to pass out and I was like, oh, this would be the perfect ad for this. And then I just like wrote it down and then like was storyboarding for the next like 2 or 3 hours. And I was just like, I didn't sleep for like 40 hours at that point. I was just like, all right, now I'm done. Now.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, but that's another thing. Cause a lot of like this podcast is for people that are trying to get back into their creativity and they're trying to, or they're trying to like ignite their creativity. Mm-hmm. There's sometimes where there's like, you should be, like want to turn it off.
Yeah.
There's the happy medium of like, yes, like there's that, but then also like knowing like, or like having the place and time for it. And if you set up that place and time, then you'll probably still have those moments where you're like dead tired and be like, yeah, the song, or this like different thing.
Yeah.
But just like creating an environment to allow yourself to be creative. Like having a space, having like the mind space, having like creating that space for yourself to be creative in that time, but not having the pressure to like succeed creatively in that space. So kind of what I mean by that is not holding yourself like against anything in that space, or in like when you're in that creative space, not shutting down ideas right away because you're like, oh, this doesn't make any sense. It's like kind of flushing out something creatively and don't edit it until you're like in a different space. Like being the creative, let the creative like juices flow and then edit later and try and figure out the pieces afterwards when it's all kind of laid out. So
that's huge. That's like a super important tip there. Like,
yeah,
how to manage this, because it's not like you're gonna be like, okay, right now I want to create, so let's create. You'll create right now, and you're like, it's I'm cold, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't work.
Well,
you need a sort of ritual, a place, have your like put yourself in that mental space, like you're saying, to be able and allow that right brain to do its thing, and then move on to the other.
Well, and that's like one reason why like so many like people have like writing retreats where they like go off into a cabin, they like shut themselves off from everything and they allow that space to be there. Right. Like for me, I haven't really written any songs for the past couple years. Like I've written in the past like week, actually I've written like 3 half songs that I'm like almost done writing. But for like the past like two years, I haven't really written any songs because all my creativity has been going towards the app. Right. And so I've had to turn on my left brain side of things and be like, hey, business mode, like dealing with the creative aspects of the app, but then also the very, very analytical parts of the app, because it's an app, it's a company. Like I have investors, like 2 of my employees have kids. Like we need to like make sure that this is a viable business thing. It can't just be living in the creative all the time. Yeah. Like so I've shifted back into like the left brain thinking to get like through a lot of this, because a lot of the early, like 3 years ago when I was first starting to like conceptualize this, it was all just like creative. It was literally bringing an idea that didn't exist and just bringing it into reality, manifesting it in different ways into reality, and just trying to be creative into the like, okay, how can we make this better? How can we make this better? Like, what can we, like, what different features can we do? Like all that kind of stuff. To now being like, okay, we have all these features. How do we build these? Like, how do we actually make this? How do we go from point A, point A to point B to point C kind of thing? And so it's like shifting from my like from right brain thinking a lot of the time to mainly left brain thinking for the past couple years has been very like exhausting. But now I'm actually journeying back into creativity now, which is really cool. And like doing more music and like making more, just like exploring music in different ways, as well as like learning different instruments and doing all that kind of stuff. Cause like if there's, and that's like the, like another thing is like, even if creativity isn't happening in one spot, that doesn't mean that you can't change spots and just be like, all right, now I'm being creative in a completely different way. And like it is a never ending circle of it always helps each thing. So like when I'm getting better at drums, I'm getting better at guitar. When I'm like playing drums and like thinking of new drum beats and like new different like things that I can write to like the band, like for the band Texas Ranger, which I drum for.
Oh, yes.
It's like it's going into like whole new creative like environments, because whenever I've written songs before, it's always been guitar and vocals and like writing the song. And then when I brought it to my band, then they were like, okay, then here's this drum beat kind of thing. So now being on the opposite side of things, of having somebody else being like, hey, I wrote the song, guitar, vocals, and then me being like, oh, I'll write a drum beat. So it's a very interesting process to like go through, to just like flex your muscles creatively in different ways. I still haven't really gotten into like drawing or painting, but
you're already doing that. You're
like,
singing, songwriting, playing guitar, playing drums, being an entrepreneur, creating an app.
And that's another thing too, is like within music there's so many different ways to be creative. Like you
do sound too.
Yeah, doing sound is like a whole different like creative way of like crafting which like frequencies are coming through at which rates, and like how like balancing everything together, and it's a very creative process, and like you have to have the ear for it, have to have the kind of like the final thing of, okay, this should sound like this. You have to, and that's the challenge, is like you're listening to a band that you've never heard before and you're like, oh, they should sound like this. You're like, how do I know what they should sound like? That's like, I've never even heard them before. But then just like trying to balance the different parts that they're kind of showing, and then like not like hiding any of the things that they want to showcase, kind of thing. But even in just like different ways of like producing music, just doing that kind of thing, doing sound, doing like things like Chinook sessions, where we're just like filming local musicians in different places, trying to get like just documenting what was happening, but in a like a very like artistic way, making it look cool, like making it's like, it's one thing to make something sound cool, but like making it look and sound cool is like that's a whole different like creative challenge, and like and everything like that. So
did you do all of the production for the Chinook sessions? Because
so it's the Chinook sessions is me and my friend Dexter.
Okay.
Dexter Mabanta. He's in the band City Sleep.
Oh, right.
So me and him started that in like 2014 or 2015, and have just kind of been doing it. We started in 2014, I think.
It's just that the whole the sound. I was surprised to see like the evolution between like the first video, because I checked like, okay, how's this changed?
Yeah.
And then the videos of like, I don't know, 3 years ago already have like this more motion, the color, the photography of the takes also. It's so beautiful. I actually loved it so much because this is like very my personal feeling with it, because I love walking around the city. Like that, as soon as I got here, first thing I did was just like walking as much as I could for hours and hours, just like get absorbed sort of like the nature of the city. Even though it's a city, there's still a lot of nature. Even though it's the winter, you still get a lot of colors. Like it's the grass is dry, the leaves are dry, but you still are like, oh, wow, and the snow, and there's this. So I felt like the places where these artists were filmed playing and singing, it's just so chill, and they're like almost part of nature, and it's almost like the song is almost like going along with the wind blows at the exact moment, or like this little leaf
like you
flies
can hear like
by,
birds chirping in the background.
Right?
It's
And
like
it's so immersive in. I was like, wow, these sceneries. I feel like I have observed those same things, like the hill, the blue sky in the back, right? That was like so beautiful.
It's just to show like there's so many different ways to be creative in just even just in the music industry.
Yeah,
is like I like started an app for booking local music. I did like the visual and audio production, like just like trying to create videos for local musicians, just like playing music, writing music, jamming, just like free improv, like just like in this space. Like it's very there's so many different places that you can like let your creativity flow. And so I think the like something that I've like always done is as soon as like the creativity starts to go down in a different area, I just start it up in a different area. So it's like when I released my first album 7 years ago for Astronomy Ground, and then was like playing shows, like did a bunch of stuff like that. And then as I was like starting to lose a little bit of the passion, because I was like, I don't know, this is fun, but like, is this like what I want to be doing? And then I was like, okay, well, how about like I want to do like something like visual and like video wise. And so then I like met Dexter. We started doing that. We like started doing that, and then as soon as like that kind of started to like I was like getting bored with that, then I was like, okay, well, I'll do music again. And then did music again, and then like started writing more songs. And then as soon as that started to go down, then I was like, oh, now I'll do this app. Like then I'll do more videos. Like there's so many different ways that you can be creative.
Yeah.
Like there is no excuse to being like, oh, like I just don't know what you like. Everybody knows how to do something. There's ways that you can be creative within everything that you're doing, and just like flexing those creative muscles in different ways to like. If you're getting better at one thing, it will make you better at everything, because you're learning as long as you're learning from whatever you're doing, right? So yeah, that's a very key thing.
That's a huge tip, to flow wherever the creativity is taking you, right?
Yeah, not fight it, not be like, oh no, I'm doing music, music.
Because I have to.
It's like, no, you don't have to do anything.
Don't
really.
have to anything.
But it's like just like go where it flows. Like when music, like there's times where like in the middle of the night, I'll just like the best thing about my house is that there's no like noise rules. If you need to create at any time of the day or night, you are allowed to create.
That's cool.
So if it's 4 a.m, you can't sleep, and you're just like, I like all of a sudden the light bulb goes off, and you're like, I have a song to write.
Yeah,
you are able to write that song.
Oh, that's
and
so amazing.
But and I know that isn't like where a lot of people live. That's not the conditions that a lot of people live in.
Yeah.
But just finding those spaces and those areas that you can like be creative in, and that you can let those things flow, and not trying to like force it and not trying to fight it, but just like letting it flow. Don't force, don't fight, flow.
I just want to end with this super hard question for you.
Okay.
What is creativity?
What is creativity?
For you, of course.
Creativity for me is, I think creativity as a concept is us as humans tapping into a higher frequency and channeling, or like not even channeling, but just like tapping into a higher frequency, a higher calling to create. That is like literally the God complex of like, we are creators. We are the creator in a lot of things, and we are manifesting these things from what's in our brain to reality, like projecting it out into reality, whether it's a song and you're singing and you're going from like it's in your head, then you're singing it, or like you have a guitar part in your head and you're like then you play it, and then you're just projecting your creation onto reality. And that's what creativity is literally you that like, and I don't know, that sounds kind of narcissistic and like also like in the God complex kind of thing, but like every single person can be creative. Every single person has the ability to project their like, everybody projects their own perceptions onto reality. So it's projecting your like what doesn't exist into reality. And just, yeah, that's creativity.
I love it. Thank you, Quinn.
Yo, my
Thank
pleasure.
you so much for
my pleasure. This has been so much fun.
Here. Yeah,
I love this.
So cool to hear you talk about meditation, nature, not being able to sleep, to creating.
Yo, it's all connected. It's all connected.
Everything is connected. And I really want to give shout outs to your Local Live app, because I think I've been hearing you talk about it for a while, and I can't wait for it to actually be a thing. And so that I don't have to be looking in Facebook, like at what events are here. And there's so many different events. Like you have to be swimming in between all the Facebook events to find them.
I was talking to somebody a couple days ago, and they were like, "Oh, like, man, you've been working on this for a while." I'm like, "Yeah, like 3 years." And they're like, "Wow, that long? Is it ever coming out?" I'm like, I don't think you realize that like what we're creating is a direct competitor to Facebook events. Like it is a direct competitor to Facebook events. Like it is not a small project. Like we've put so much time and so much money and effort into it now that like it's like we're making sure that it's absolutely pristine, perfect before, and like so when people download it, they're just like, all right, this is the new standard. Like this is the new way that we're living. So
I can't wait.
Yo, I'm excited. Wait. I'm excited.
And
thank you so much for having me on this. This is really fun.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy you enjoyed. And remember to find Astronomy Ground on Instagram and Spotify. And I'll see you on the other side.